Now in its 9th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, live from Harlem, New York. It's me, it's Alex, it's the Ramble, and we go until midnight tonight from the East Coast to the United States. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a whole week later, and Albert went and got the same shirt he wore last week, and I got the same shirt I wore last week, so that we matched last week.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on again.
Nice of you to be here on the lovely, whatever. Oh, it's still the Ramble. Yeah, this is on the Ramble. So, anyway, Albert, as you may or may not know, used to be my producer.
Correct.
At Sirius XM. And it was funny in life to wind up, I've had tons of producers, okay, over my illustrious career. Let me go down
They all
here.
stuck with you that long, huh? You had to have tons of them?
I got to get a tissue because my nose is...
That's very professional.
Yeah, well, I did it below the camera level.
Oh, okay, good.
He was my producer, and I can say this after a long, long, illustrious career, that it was great at the end of my career to have the best producer I ever had. And you really were.
Thank you very much.
You really were.
Appreciate it.
And I had some good producers.
Think if we had been given some more time after that, because we were just starting to hit the stride of 10 years. We just started to hit the stride.
We really did.
I mean, it would have been gangbusters after that.
I think it was a funny 3 hours.
Yes. It did not belong on the political talk station.
Not funny, fun. Fun 3 hours.
Oh, fun, yeah.
Well, when I first went to Sirius XM, they said, listen, would you do us a favor? And I said, what? They said, would you go on our political channel, our left channel, because you are left politically, right? And I said, yeah. And they said, we could sure use somebody there because all we have is this woman, what's her name, Lynn Samuels. And we're going to put her on full time. And then we would have a good, solid channel. So I said, but don't expect me to do politics all the time. I'll do politics, but don't expect me to do it all the time. Well, by the end of our time there, they were going, not enough politics, not enough politics, And I'm going, I asked you to put me on one other channel, it's like an entertainment channel. I said, that's where I really belong, but you wouldn't do it, So in the end, we suffered for it. We'd probably still be there to this day if we went on that entertainment channel. Yeah.
Is there an entertainment channel?
Well, I forget what it was called, but it wasn't serious stuff, So.
Oh well.
Yeah.
We've had a nice 10 years or close to 10 years.
Yeah, we had good 10 years. Yeah, 9 years I think it was. 9.
9. It approached 10. It was almost 10.
Is it approaching 10? Anyway, so that was it.
Either way, you know what? It doesn't matter because, and here's the great thing. Everybody now is listening and watching this stuff and not going to satellite like they used to. It's all on the internet now. Everybody's either got YouTube or podcasting and gets it shoved right into their phone and done. So it's not the satellite anymore.
But this is but
timing was great.
I don't like this as much though. I feel that with radio, there was more of an immediacy. You pretty well knew that when I was talking to you from New York City, it was happening right now.
Well, you have the ability to do that.
Well, I do that every night. But most podcasts aren't live.
Well, that's the way paradigms change. People don't necessarily want to.
I knew the change in paradigms. I mean, people were saying to me, they're thinking of taking AM radio out of cars. And I'm going...
Good.
I said, everything, times change and the method of distribution changes. I said, but it is sad that one of the reasons they're taking, by the way, out of car radios is for some reason AM radio uses up some kind of frequency or whatever that electric cars need to use.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have an AM radio in a electric car, there's some kind of interference that is created on the AM band, because as you and I know, there is more interference on the AM band because it's not protected.
Which could have been cleared up years ago if they'd made it a digital signal, which it still is not.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's the problem. And by the way, it's 2023, and you can't figure out how to get rid of that little problem between the electric car and the AM radio.
Well, apparently not. But anyway, so the thing is getting rid of AM radio, and I'm going, probably should have gone years ago, actually, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
In fact,
when was the last time you listened to AM or any radio?
Hey, listen, I never listened to radio when I was in my car. I used to put on music.
Well, yeah, but you'd listen to music stations, wouldn't you?
No. Why should I listen to music stations? To hear songs and then punctuated by commercials?
Yeah, okay.
When I can put in a disc in my CD player at the time?
Well, you're talking about at the time when CDs were around, yeah.
Yeah. Or right now, I mean, you can go to any number of things where you get like Amazon Music or whatever and have it in your car. And you don't have to have commercials, and you can pick what you want to hear. You can program yourself.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised at making a big stink about AM radio. By the way, FM radio, who listens to that anymore either? With all the commercials and all the nonsense.
Well,
on there?
I remember the most
and the biggest scam is the traffic that's still on, which is not up to date. Because the traffic people got it 10 minutes ago, and that accident is cleared up, or there's a new accident. You want to see what the traffic is? Put on Waze, put on Google Maps. That's where you'll find the traffic.
Yeah, you can get automatic, immediate stuff that way.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So
how's it happening?
So I mean, it really the fact is that radio itself has become unimportant. And. What was I going to say? There was something I wanted to say about listening. Oh, yeah. When you and I, the last show that I ever did in recent time, well, I did this thing over at the religious station, over at, I can't even remember the name of the station here in town. I just did it a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, the AM station.
The AM station, yeah.
Is that a religious station?
Well, no, they own a religious. They own WMCA.
Mm-hmm.
But this station was a station that took over the offices of WOR, where I did a show quite a few years ago, and in that same exact studio. But anyway, so I did WR. Then what I was going to say is that I then did a show with you on, I believe it was New Year's Eve, was it? Or Christmas Eve?
Oh, yeah.
New Year's Eve.
And that was on
WOR, right?
On the new studio.
Yeah.
Newer studios.
Yeah, and you were my producer.
Right.
And we go to commercial break. And I said, I'm thinking of going to the bathroom. How long do we have? And you said 7 minutes.
Have a diarrhea.
No, but 7 minutes. I figured I could go out, have breakfast, dinner, come back, and we'd be through the break finally. I mean, how do you expect people to stick through that?
Because it's an old audience, and they're used to being treated like that. That's how they expect.
No, they're not, because in the early days, they only had to put up with 8 minutes worth of commercials an hour.
Yeah, but it's only the old audience that's listening now.
In fact, come to think of it, there were less commercials in a break on the old AM radio than there are now on the new AM radio.
Yeah.
I mean, what really? I mean, 7-minute break? Are you
charge less, put on more commercials? That's how they make the money.
Boy,
they have no choice.
Charge less. You should play less commercials and charge more.
But they're not willing to pay more. The advertisers aren't willing to pay more because it's not worth it. Because it's AM radio. Have you listened to AM radio?
I haven't. Can I tell you this? I can't remember the last time I listened to AM radio.
It's 6-7 years ago.
And I can't tell you the last time I listened to FM
with
radio.
You.
Huh?
Working with you was the last time I listened to AM radio.
the time we were on WOR.
That's right.
And you weren't really listening to it; you were doing it. See,
no, but I listened the day or two before, so I knew what the situation was. Right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Stations.
Oh, yeah, you did the prep, right? I by the way, really funny. Albert saw this thing I did for Shecky.
Very nicely done.
And you said, that's the first time in your life you've done prep, huh? And you didn't realize that that's the way I always prep my shows.
Oh, come on.
No, really, I'm serious. I used to say, people say, do you prep your shows? And I prep all day long. I observe things, I absorb them, I think about what I might say about them. This is all a process that goes on in my mind. It's been going on for the history of me in radio.
I don't know. I didn't hear once during the Shecky thing. You never once said, hey, come on now, we need some callers. I got to have some callers.
No, wait a minute. Now, it's a different situation. But the point was, you said to me, well, that's the first time you ever prepped. And actually, the way I prepped that was the same way I prepped everything in my life. At night, I went to put my head down on the pillow, and for about 20 minutes, I kept thinking what I was going to say and rehearsing it over and over and over again in my mind, and then maybe saying, well, this would be good if I moved that there. And I'm doing this all in my mind.
Well, whatever process it was, it worked.
So I got up there, and I'm the only person that did it without any. I didn't have any notes. I didn't need any notes. I knew what I was going to say.
Did a nice job.
And the reason I had to also figure that out was they told me I only had 3.5 minutes.
Well, that's tough.
Yeah, well, summarize, 45 years of a relationship with a friend in 3.5 minutes is kind of impossible. Actually, it was 3 minutes, and then I got a note from somebody, from this woman, Randy, who said to me, I have good news for you. You got 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And I'm going...
And then you go to commercial.
I'm not... Well, the thing was that the people who did this were all Letterman people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So they were producing another TV show in their mind. So when they said, you got 3.5 minutes, it's because they were sitting there, with a clock, and just like you would do with the Letterman show, had to be 59 minutes or 58 minutes. Mm-hmm. So everything had to be timed. This segment is so much, this segment is so much. And so they kind of produced it that way. And then when I got there, they said, go on for as long as you want to. Well, I'd already figured out what I was going to say and had it timed out to about 3.5 minutes. So, it didn't matter. But no, when you say that was the first time I've ever seen you do prep, that's the way I did prep all my life, even when we were at Sirius XM.
Well, I think that Lynn Samuels would disagree with that.
Of course she would, because she did prep. She had volumes of papers she would bring out when she was doing her show, and I did it all from up here. Well, you know what my theory was? If I don't know what's going to happen next, then the audience isn't going to know, and it's all going to be interesting for all of us to find out.
That's right.
And
Larry King had somewhat of the same mindset as well.
Well, he and I talked one day about this. After he did my show, we went out and grabbed a little bite to eat, and we sat down and we compared notes. And I was amazed how similar we were in our process. Mm-hmm. He said, I never have a list of any questions I'm going to ask. I just hold a conversation and let it go where it's going to go. And I figured that's the way I do it,
And you never read the book beforehand.
Never read the book beforehand. That's my other rule.
But what about movies you would see before you talked about them?
Well, I didn't like that, Huh? I didn't like that because let's say I see a movie, all right? And I go, boy, I got this guy on Monday and this picture sucks. What am I supposed to do Monday? Go on and say, hey, I saw the movie. Boy, is it terrific. No. So I would rather that I hadn't seen the movie because I'm now sitting with this guy and I've got to tell him, wasn't that good?
And you can't do that. Politically, you can't do that because the PR person will then say, well, look what he did. He's not getting another guest again.
Yeah, I would say to them something like, if I had to comment on it, I would say, nice job. Nice job. But then I would interview them, if it was like any one of a number of different people, I would have, I did. My only problem was I should have done more research on some people that I was interviewing. Because I remember that I did Robert Wise, movie director.
Director, yeah.
And I interviewed him, and he had just done, I think he'd done, among other things, Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which is a terrible film. But I talked to him about that, and I talked to him about West Side Story he directed, about West Side Story and a whole bunch of things. He walked out and he left, and all of a sudden I realized he was the editor on Citizen Kane.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I didn't ask him a single question about Citizen Kane. That's when I could be a terrible interviewer.
Well, that was also before the time of Wikipedia, when you can just scan through something on there and say, "Oh yeah, he did that, he did that."
Yeah,
you really have to dig to find.
But I even knew that fact, that he edited Citizen Kane.
Well, then you didn't do your prep, because you should have written it down.
That's right.
Edited.
That's right. Well, I'm admitting to my mistake.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Okay.
Always good.
It was a big mistake on my part. A question I should have asked. It's my. If I could do any interview again, it would be Robert Wise. So I go back and ask him, and probably spend most of the hour about Citizen Kane and not about other stuff.
Certainly not about Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Oh, what a wonderful picture that was! Hey. Anyway, but most of the time though I was pretty good. I didn't know the people that I was interviewing, and if they write a book, I didn't read the book. And number one, because I don't read books much, and secondly, because I didn't want to know more about the subject than the audience would. I would like to say to the guy, "So tell me about your book." Okay, and he tells me about it, and then the audience who hasn't read the book, is on the same level with me. However, if I've read the book, now I'm interviewing this guy on an entirely different level that bypasses the audience completely.
Not only that, but from knowing you personally, I can tell people that you are a notorious spoiler. You like to give away tidbits that you think aren't that important, but really are. And you've spoiled some things for me, so I'm glad you don't watch.
Like in Citizen Kane, the sled is Rosebud?
Well, I don't know that it really is, because the inside meaning of Rosebud is something completely.
Well, no, that was because they said that Mankiewicz, who was the screenwriter, got to hate. He was banned from San Simeon, and he so hated Hearst that he wanted to get even with him, and his affectionate term for Marion Davies' vagina was Rosebud, and supposedly that's what drove Hearst crazy about that movie, not the rest of it. That and the way he treated the woman in the picture, which wasn't supposed to be Marion Davies. That was actually Orson Welles said that was modeled after a guy who bought his girlfriend a opera house in Chicago so that she could sing in it. She was terrible. And that's who that was modeled after. Okay.
And it was another millionaire that did this?
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with Hearst.
Right. And then Orson Welles said Marion Davies, who was his lover all those years, it wasn't modeled after Marion Davies because Marion Davies was one of the most talented people in Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
In fact, somebody had a great quote. I can't remember who said this, but it was Marion Davies was notorious for giving her money away to people who needed it.
Why would that be not famous for it and not notorious? It's not a notorious thing.
No. Okay, she was famous for it. All right. She's so picky. He's such a taskmaster. Anyway, and he said Marion Davies makes up for the rest of Hollywood.
Wow.
That was what he said about her. And she was well loved. She was very loved. And it's a shame what happened to her. When Hearst died, she was so distressed at him being ill and looked like he was going to die that they gave her some drugs that put her out. And while she was out, he died. And when she woke up in the room that she was in at her home, anything that had to do with Hearst had completely disappeared.
Really?
They went in there and just looted the place for anything that had anything to do with Hearst. And she was with him. She was with him for 35 years.
Was that part of the movie where she was out when he died?
No.
That wasn't part of the movie.
No, that wasn't part of the movie.
But in the movie, the woman was kind of drinking and drugging at the end, right?
Yeah. But I don't know if Marion Davies became an alcoholic or not. I'm trying to remember. But they literally, I mean, and this is the woman who, by the way, saved the Hearst Empire. You know that story. The Marion Davies, this supposed Chippy, this sugar mama or whatever you want to call her. When Hearst lost all his money during the Depression, literally, and they were going to have to close down the Hearst properties, she gave him $1 million cash to save the company, because she owned almost all the property in Columbus Circle in New York. So she sold it off, gave him $1 million, and then on top of that, she went to her jewel box, got out all this jewelry, which was worth maybe as much as another $1 million, and gave that to him. And it saved the Hearst Corporation and saved Hearst. And he never forgot that. He almost married her. Flew everybody up to, or railroaded everybody up to San Simeon. They were going to have a wedding, and then at the last minute, his ex-wife wouldn't give him the divorce because she wanted Cosmopolitan magazine as part of the process. And he so loved Cosmopolitan magazine, he said, I can't do that. So she wouldn't divorce him. So they had to send everybody back in trains back to L.A. and call off the marriage, which really made Marion very despondent because they'd been together for 35 years. And she so wanted to be his wife, not for any other reason. She didn't need the money. She was very wealthy on her own. I mean, she saved his empire, But
and I thought succession was complicated. Wow.
Yeah. But, I mean, most people don't know who we're talking about when we mention Marion Davies. But if anybody can go watch some of her films, especially silent films, wonderful. Just a wonderful comedienne. And you would really like her pictures, But
I'm not a big silent film
But
fan.
she's forgotten. A lot of people get forgotten. I mean, the biggest star in the world, Clara Bow. Nobody remembers Clara Bow. But I'll tell you, if I ever showed you some films of hers, you'd say, that's the sexiest woman I've ever seen on screen.
I'm going to have to Google her when we get done.
Amazing. If you go onto YouTube, there are actually, look up Clara Bow, and there's a documentary that they did about, Hugh Hefner produced about Clara Bow, documentary. And it is just, you'll be crying by the end of it. I mean, and you'll fall in love with her just watching her.
How long is it?
The documentary, I think, is an hour. Yeah. And it's on YouTube. I suggest everybody watch it because these are people that shouldn't be forgotten. They were great. And she was the biggest star in the world.
Well, that's the good thing about the time we live in is that there are records. There's visual records, audio records of people like that.
And also that everybody's fame winds up lasting 15 seconds.
That's the thing. But you can see the 15 seconds now, whereas in the 1800s, you got nothing.
Well, they say that so-and-so's really sexy. Beyonce is sexy. Or so-and-so's the sexiest woman ever been in movies. The sexiest woman, I guarantee you go watch this Clara Bow documentary. You'll agree with me. The sexiest woman in movies ever was Clara Bow.
Does she show a bit of ankle?
Oh, yeah. She was known as the It Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For more than 15 minutes, too.
For more than 50. But she was washed up at 25.
Well, she's no Mickey Rooney.
She's no Mickey Rooney, exactly. If Mickey Rooney were there, he would have saved her career.
Man, he was the biggest star forever, and he'll tell you that.
He was at one time the biggest star in the world. Well, that'll show what that'll get you. Yeah, I remember doing. Oh God, I'll tell you. You know the story about me and Mickey Rooney, and him showing up.
I know many stories about
my
Mickey
story.
Rooney.
He's showing up in my studio one day, and me just looking at him in the control room, saying, "I hope my producer doesn't bring him in." Hoping she doesn't bring him in, and she brought him in. And of course, I get the whole thing. If Judy Garland had only called me just before, she'd still be alive today. You know.
Didn't I bring him in one time? Didn't I book him one time?
Did you?
That's serious. I think I did.
Oh God!
I know I booked him on several shows that I produced.
Didn't I say don't?
Probably did, but
Yeah.
he's Rudy. Come on.
Oh, just I don't want to go over here much, but the 2 nights before I had seen Mickey Rooney on with Joan Rivers when she had that talk show.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that Carson got mad at her for over at Fox.
Yeah, yeah.
And Mickey Rooney just took over the show. And I felt so sorry for Joan Rivers. I didn't think I'd ever feel sorry for Joan Rivers, but I felt sorry for her because he completely hijacked the show.
That's what he does. The few shows that he's been on that I booked him on, he takes over the whole thing.
The other one that was good at that, Steve Allen would hijack a show.
I don't think I've ever booked.
He'd come in and tell you how high the volume should be on the pots, on the mics and so on. Anyway, and then all of a sudden, here my producer Christy, who I love dearly, but I said, I hope she doesn't make that mistake. And next thing I know, who's sitting in front of me? Mickey Rooney. And what am I getting? Well, if Judy Garland were and I could have saved Judy Garland's life. And shut up, Mickey, please, shut up.
Didn't you tell her you don't want him in there?
I couldn't tell her. I never told her that. But he was in another on another show. This is WABC in L.A. or KABC in L.A.
I would have come in. I'd said, "Hey, Mickey Rooney's next door. Do you want me to bring him in?"
No, she just brought him in. Said no. She thought she was doing a big deal. She got Mickey Rooney.
Yeah.
That's why I say you're the best producer I ever had. Anyway, hey, listen, we've run over, but that's good. That's good. I could talk to you for years, and
I hope you do talk to me for years.
I hope so. I hope I'm still talking with you in years to come. And hey, listen, good having you here.
Good to be.
Let's do this again in a couple of weeks, okay?
Whenever you like.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay where you are. Albert Reynoso, ladies and gentlemen, yay!
Bye.
Now in its 9th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And here we are, folks. It's Wednesday, and we have 3 shows to do this week, as usual. And we're back. I'm looking at the people who are trying to get on tonight, and one of them, I think, is somebody that that's okay, even though it doesn't look okay. But let me let these people in, and then what I can do is I can make sure that all of them are legit. Okay? Where do I go here? Admit all. There we go. Okay. I'm remembering again how to do this. Okay, let's see who... Okay, all right. I was wondering who possible ass meat was. Wait a minute, are you guys there? Wait a minute. Are you there? Hello? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I want to make sure you were there. And let me see here. Let me add Brian Neary here. Here comes Brian. Yeah. Okay, I hope he pops in here. Anyway, so who was possible ass meat? It was you, right, Kevin?
Yeah, it happened.
You forgot to take it off when you did it the other day, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway. Well, I want to see the ass meat. Hurry up. But it only said possible, so that's okay.
Exactly.
How y'all doing, guys? Oh, hey, look who we got here tonight, Boddicker. Good to see you, Scott.
Hey, I'm awake. It's past 9 o'clock.
It's past. Let's see. Out there where you are, it's what time right now?
Oh, it's 10 o'clock actually. Yes.
It's 10 o'clock. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Well, it's 11 o'clock here, so it's 10 o'clock there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Even
so
Jack
Mark,
Harvey.
what's the temperature?
I forget that Texas is Central Time, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
As is Alabama, which concerns me.
Yeah.
How's
Weird.
that? How's that?
I don't know. How's Alabama? It's way out east. It's Central Time.
Yeah, well, I know that. I mean, but I just wonder. Oh, there it is. Is that your?
That's the temperature. A front came through, dumped a shitload of rain on us.
Yes,
and
it was great.
Temperature dropped. Yeah.
Well, thank God for that, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's just been normal here, you know. Today, Marjorie and I did something we haven't done in a long time, and every time I do it, I swear to myself I'll never do it again.
Sex?
Yeah, you don't need to tell us those details.
Sorry.
I don't expect that kind of talk like that from you, Scott, a good Catholic boy. Yeah. No,
Sorry, Father.
we went to the movies today.
Oh.
You know, I've forgotten how absolutely terrible movie theaters are. You know, I'm so used to lying on my bed and watching, you know, a movie that I wanted to see that maybe within a month winds up streaming anyway. So we went to the movies today, and just got to tell you, we went to see Asteroid City, the Wes Anderson film.
Yeah, how was it?
If I were to rate it among all of Wes Anderson's works, it's somewhere below Bottle Rocket. It's not. I was so looking forward to it. So was Marjorie, and it's not that good. It's beautifully done. I mean, graphically, it's just you sit there just going, wow. And there's some visual gags which are quite funny. I mean, there's one sign I remember in it that says, "Do not enter," and then in parentheses, "or exit." You know, things like that. But I mean, it didn't live up to what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot better than it was. And, but even bad Wes Anderson is good Wes Anderson. You know, it's good anybody else. So I wish I made a movie this bad, okay? You know, then it would be a pretty good film by most standards. But boy, I'm telling you, the trouble was the movie theater. To begin with, it's not the comfy chair theater. This was the uncomfy chair theater. Okay? This was an AMC theater, which I guess they haven't gotten the message that most theaters are putting in these, you know, these comfy chairs, right? You have them in Texas, right, Charlie? You have them right where you are, out where you are, Scott? Yes. Or do you go to the movies anymore?
I don't go.
I don't go.
You don't go either. How many here have been to a movie theater in the last little while? Wow.
5 years.
What's happened to the movie?
Oh, I've been. I thought you hadn't been. Okay, no, I've been to a movie theater in the last couple months.
Did it have like the comfy chairs?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, this one didn't have the comfy chairs. It had like the old chairs that are low and go back just a little bit. The problem is that I decided where we were sitting, this guy was in front of me and he was blocking my view. So it was not a full theater. So I decided to go to another seat in the theater. And I went to get up out of this chair and I could barely do it because the guy was in front of me. So I wasn't going to grab the seat in front of me. And I really had no way to get out of there. I mean, they are just terrible, terrible seats. Just not a very pleasant experience, all right? And so then Marjorie spends, let's see here, $27 on tickets, all right? I spend $20 on snacks, because the price on snacks has gone up, okay? Jeez. And then I paid for the cab both ways, the car both ways. So everything total, maybe comes to $75 to see an hour and a half movie. I'm sorry. I'm not. It's no reason to go to a theater anymore. Just wait. Eventually it will come to a home near you, come to a couch near you. But it was terrible. It was just.
We saw John Wick 4, but I wanted to see that in the theater.
Why'd you want to see? What was it about seeing it in the theater that you couldn't get the experience at home?
Well, the action and to see it right away. We're looking forward to it. So
you didn't want to wait.
Well, there are some films, like we went to see Avatar in 3D. Okay, and that's a movie that's 3 hours long, and we left after 2 hours. It was just not worth the time and effort it took to get to the movie theater, and within a couple of weeks, it was already available on streaming. So, what's that all about? So I just find the movie theaters to be not the kind of outing you'd like it to be anymore. They don't care about anything but getting your money. They don't care how good the projection is. They don't care how good the popcorn is popped or anything like that. They just, once they got you in there, we got your money, And believe me, when you got paid $27, another $20, that's $47. Then another almost $25 going back and forth. Yeah, about $65, $70 we spent today just to go see the movie. That wasn't for snacks afterwards, which we didn't get. We came straight home. Yes, Jeff?
There's no theater that sells movies anymore.
What do you mean that sells movies?
They're all closed.
I mean, there are no theaters that that are showing movies. Really? Because there's still. I don't think any theater I know of in Manhattan has closed.
Yeah.
I think I know why. Didn't the Connecticut state government say that portable toilets are no longer allowed? No.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm kidding. So I don't know. I'm trying to make a joke.
Wait a minute. Let's diagram that joke for a moment.
No, please.
And figure out, just so we know for future reference, why it didn't work. And the only part of this...
I meant to say public.
The only part of the diagram I've got here, which I'm looking at right now, is Alan told the joke.
That's it.
That's it. Bingo. I hit it, right? No Venn diagram for that one.
So I will try something a little better that's not a joke, but it's funny. So I went to Petco. A friend of mine's dog is having a birthday party. I hope I didn't say.
Wait a minute. A dog's having a birthday party. So you go to Petco.
Petco, right?
Why? What, for streamers and party hats? What?
I don't know. No, just to get it a gift. It's a friend of mine. So I go there and there's a dog water purification system for $75. And so I talked to the clerk and I said, so what does this do? It purifies the dog's water so it doesn't have to drink all the chemicals and everything. And I'm like, I said to the clerk, I said, the dog just, ate a pile of poop a little while ago. I mean, now you're worried about purified water? And she just looked at me. She was stunned that I even said.
Tony's right. He does have to wash it down.
Just do what I do, Alex.
And you should put Perrier. You should get a bottle of Perrier. Purified water. I'm like, for a dog. I'm like, oh my God.
I don't know why you would go to Petco to get a gift for a dog. You can just grab an old tennis ball and give it to the dog. He'll be happy for weeks. He'll have this big sloppy tennis ball that he drops at people's feet.
And the gifts are like $40 for something they're going to rip apart in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I got it at Kong. It's this big.
Kong's very popular. I buy the Kong toys too. Yeah.
I'm sure you do. That's what keeps your teeth straight, Tony. It's a really hard rubber.
Those are popular toys, the Kongs. Yeah.
Yeah, the Kongs are good. Thank you, Tony. So that's what I got. It was a Kong. It missed out on the water purification system.
Oh, really? Okay. So how was the birthday party for the dog? Did you go over there and sing happy?
Yeah, I went over. It was, they were having mainly adult stuff, and the dog was eating too many cupcakes and it barfed, that type of thing.
You tried. You were feeding him chocolate?
No, vanilla cupcakes.
Oh, vanilla cupcakes. Okay,
Yeah.
well,
This family doesn't like chocolate.
What do you do? Sing happy birthday and?
No. It was a party.
Let me ask you a very important question here. Since all eyes are on you tonight because of bad jokes and the like,
what does that have to do with
this?
movies?
Wasn't a joke.
How old was the dog?
4.
What is the
Cocker Spaniel? It's cute.
Really?
It's funny. It's Phil's birthday, I think, tomorrow, and it's the dog's birthday.
Oh, we should send him Kongs. Get them on Amazon.
Phil's birthday tomorrow?
Is it tomorrow? I think it's this weekend, Tony.
I think he already had a birthday.
Trump?
No, it's on the 24th. It's this Saturday, Phil.
Oh, this Saturday? Oh, okay.
And he shares the same birth date as Mike Allen, who we don't know what happened to.
Really? Doesn't anybody know what happened to Mike Allen?
You mean Mike Allen?
I would say he's dead. I'm betting on dead.
I think he's in the hospital.
Huh?
I don't
or
know.
in the hospital, one or the other.
I was in Sacramento visiting a friend of mine, I don't know, 5 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mike Allen, wait a minute, hold on a second. In case people don't know, because not everybody listens to The Intersection. Of course, not everybody listens to this show either. But Mike Allen is a guy who was called from the very beginning on The Intersection. And his name is Mike Allen. And he kept sounding worse and worse. Okay, let's just say that. He wouldn't give up.
A couple weeks before he ended up not showing up anymore, he was having a lot of breathing problems. Said he had double pneumonia. Who knows? I don't know. But
how would you know if he were dead or alive, though? That's.
Want me to send him a message?
You just don't wake up alive.
He hasn't answered any of my messages.
Okay, let me see that thing.
Didn't he call the show before you guys did video every day?
Yes.
He contacted me.
Yeah.
By the way, his birthday is June 12th.
His birthday is June 12th. Phil claims it's the same birthday.
Is it?
Phil claims a lot of stuff that's lies.
Well, yeah. Phil is not known for being.
He takes a page from Donald Trump. Okay,
If Phil's birthday is the 24th, yeah. So.
Okay, good. At least I got that right. Thank you, Charlie.
Because I'm Facebook friends with these people, so I have all the.
Yeah, I'll tell you what disgusts me about Phil. Okay, anybody want to know?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Whenever he's out with people, he takes a picture of them and sends it to me.
He did that to me too.
As if I care.
I think he tries to get your attention.
That's worse than the people who on their Facebook page take a picture of their dinner and put it on their Facebook
I'm waiting
page.
for him to be drinking out of the dog purification system and take a picture of that. That would be a good.
Yeah, but I mean, this weekend he was with Steve Fox, who does our voice.
Yeah, that's what he showed me. Something they went out to eat.
Yeah, and he sends me a picture of himself with Steve Fox having dinner. I'm going, I can't be there. I'm not being included. Why are you sending me a picture?
Oh yeah.
Look what you're missing.
And then he says to me, "Oh, Steve wants to know this or wants to know that," and I'm trying to watch a movie or something. I'm getting these messages because, as you know, I get them on my watch, And I just, I almost wasn't going to answer, and then I did.
Has anybody found out any news on the whatever it is, the submersible?
Wait a minute. How do we go from Phil
movies
to the submersible?
What Phil?
Alan's all over the place. Man.
Kevin, did you want to say something?
Nope.
Oh, okay, fine.
Get over that.
What?
My brother told me about that. What? 250,000 to see the Titanic.
What? I don't understand. What's the news item? I haven't heard about it.
I'll tell him. You didn't hear about that?
Go ahead, Tony.
Tony, I
The
wake up
submarine-
in the morning and sometimes I find out what's happening in the world. This has been going on since Sunday.
Yeah.
I only found out about it today. He was telling me about it. I didn't even hear about it.
Well, luckily you got to find out about it before they're dead.
I think they're gone, right? They're dead, didn't they?
No, not
They don't know.
They don't know.
They could have had an implosion. They could be freezing to
It
death.
also could be that piece thing they went down with is a piece of crap.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's never been certified by the coast.
Why would
They
you
fired the safety officer.
what?
And the guy that was supposed to. He told him that he can't go down 4,000 feet or whatever they were going.
They
Yeah.
were
4,000 meters, and the thing was only capable of 1,400 meters or something.
and they were never
Yeah.
certified to do it. You know, and I
class
saw a
wasn't
guy. I was
certified.
watching. I know what I was watching. This guy Reese. I'm trying to remember his first name. Who worked on The Simpsons. I guess he made a lot of fuck you money, and decided to use it on going on that particular thing, the Titan. And he said he went down, he and his wife, because his wife was daring him to go down with her. But he mistakenly got it wrong. She was just going to dare him to go down on her. But thank you, folks. I'll be here all
Underwater.
week. Anyway, so they went down this thing, and he said he slept on the way down. He said, and then when they got down there, they hit the bottom, okay, and they couldn't find the Titanic.
Oh, just watch the
And they
fucking
kept
movie.
floating around with the light on, looking for the Titanic, and they can't find it anywhere. Now look, you're charging people $250,000 a piece, right, to go down on this thing, and you can't find the Titanic.
Well,
Because
you know,
we don't have
there's no
GPS.
light down there. Apparently, you can't see your hand in front of your face.
Yeah, but
It doesn't even have GPS on.
they should have some. Yeah, they should have some. Right? You'd think
The
on
next
there,
one will, Kevin.
there will
Yeah,
be no
right.
next one. You can bet your life there will be no next one.
This thing's like 30,000 feet deep or something like that.
No, it's
12,500.
12,000.
12,500.
Well, that's
Same difference to me.
Really?
You get a better chance of finding it.
Must overestimate the size of your penis too.
We all do. We're Jewish. We all would do.
Yeah. Anyway, so but he said that they finally found it, and they had to get up back up before sunset, and so they only got to see it for like a minute and a half, and then they went right back up to the top. I'm not paying my $250,000. I'm sorry. I paid you to show me the Titanic, and all you can show me are crabs or something, you know?
I saw the movie.
Get Leonardo. Where's Leonardo?
Huh? What'd you say? What did you wait? What did you say, Kevin?
I said, where's Leonardo?
Oh yeah,
Captured.
yeah.
Movie.
So I mean, and secondly, there was something that just bothered me about taking tourists down to see what is essentially a graveyard. Have a little respect for the dead.
All it is Bezos in reverse. They're going down instead of up.
Right.
Do you know one of these people actually went up on Bezos' rocket?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found out.
His check bounced on the dive, so they just cut the cable. Maybe, I don't know.
No,
Is this what happens when they make too much money?
there is
It's
no
like-
cable. Once they're down there, they go down on their own. You know how they get back up?
How do they get communications?
You know how there are no communications. You can text for about 1,200 feet or something, and then
Yeah, they
that's
text.
it. Do you know how they
It's
get?
really sophisticated.
Are you how sophisticated this thing is? Guess how they get to go back up? How it floats to the top?
They dump weights.
That's right. They dump all the
And they
weights.
use a game controller to move it around.
Well,
I heard
you know
about
something?
that.
That doesn't bother me. I told Marjorie I'd be bothered by that if I didn't know the game controllers are pretty accurate. You know, they're probably more accurate than some other device you might use.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
Are you having Phil on tomorrow night? He'll have two things to
It
talk
just-
No,
about.
tomorrow night.
It's
Tomorrow night, I
It's kind of
have.
funny sitting down there. We're going down, and you'd look over the guy, and he's got a Nintendo in his hand.
Tomorrow night, I have a guest on who I've never had as a guest on, and his name is Don Giller. And he is the guy. If you go online and you look at YouTube and you look at some actually for a couple of years before Letterman started doing it himself, all the stuff about Letterman, all the Letterman shows and everything, he was putting up. And he was a great archivist. And so I said to him, I think he's a really funny guy. And I said to him, come talk with me. He was very hesitant to do it. Well, I'm not interesting. Blah, blah, blah. I said, don't underestimate yourself. And it's a really fun 25 minutes. You'll have to hear it tomorrow night. It's really good.
All right.
It's really good.
Otherwise, Phil would be talking about Adam Schiff getting censored today.
Did he get censored for what?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
He got told time's
right
up.
along party lines. Imagine that.
Yeah, time's up. Yeah.
Yep.
It was
Hunter Biden pled guilty to not paying taxes or something.
That was last week. Come on.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
And he hasn't pled guilty yet. He's going to.
He did today.
He did today?
Yeah.
That's another thing.
We got to get another antenna for your TV that tunes in today, Alex. So you don't hear last week's.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, so Gil is going to be on with me tomorrow, and one of the things that happened today. This woman that worked with Shecky and is the administrator of his estate asked me a couple of months ago when she was starting to go through everything, is there anything here you'd like? And I thought about it, and there are a lot of things Shecky had. Like, he collected cartoon art. I mean, oil paintings of Donald Duck and stuff like that.
Probably worth a lot of money.
Well, I didn't know how much it was worth and not worth, I just knew that it wasn't the kind of thing I'd put up on my wall. And I didn't want to take anything that somebody else could give it a better use out of. Okay? So I told her I don't know at this time. And then after I thought about it for a while, I wrote her and I said, you know what I would like to lay my hands on, if you haven't given it to anybody yet, and you don't need to give it to anybody, I'd like Shecky's computer and his external hard drives, because he's got a lot of films, a lot of TV shows, a lot of stuff he's been collecting over the years. And I said, I just want him to be able to, archive them. And she said, sure, they're yours, And today she wrote and said, I'm coming to the city. Let me bring the computer and let me bring the drives. There are tons of these, hard drives, these external hard drives, and the machine. Now, the machine, I don't have the password for.
I was going to say, where's the password?
Yeah, I was wondering.
I know that I had it once for a couple of minutes because Shecky gave it to me while I was working on his machine one day. Okay, but I can't remember it to save my life. Okay.
Can't you plug the external hard drives into your Apple computer and view them?
Well, I could take the externals. No problem. They don't need a password. Okay, but the machine does need a password. Now, I don't know what I can do about that. The only thing I can do is maybe pull the hard drive and then hook it into one of my computers, and I can probably read the hard drive. And then take everything that's on that hard drive. He probably didn't keep any films really on the hard drive on the machine. That's what I'm thinking. But if he did, I could then offload them onto something else, and so I've got that hard drive as well. But if anybody, and write me if you have it, my address is alex@gabnet.net. If anybody has a way that you can take a computer that's for a PC, so it's Microsoft, and how I can somehow get into that machine without knowing the password, please give me the formula. I know there's got to be a way to do it, because there are people that do it all the time. Yes, Alan.
Yeah, they sell discs. Amazon probably has them for like $15-20, and they're a boot disc, and it doesn't boot it into Microsoft. It it boots it into Unix, and then you can see all the passwords. That's what I've been told. I've never used it, so I don't know.
Oh, really?
You would think that it wouldn't be that simple, but Microsoft is not that smart. So,
well, I'm sure there's some way of doing it, because people lose their passwords and they can't get onto their machine. There's got to be a way to do it.
I think you got a good chance.
What's that?
I think you got to find somebody who's going to do it for you.
Oh, then I need to find a 14-year-old.
Yeah,
who's good with computers.
Right. And they'll do it in 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I don't know.
One of my granddaughters.
So anyway, elsewhere in the news, you've got Donald Trump, who I think is turning out to be, and I'm saying this to all you Republicans out there who are listening. I'm not trying to change your mind about being a Republican. I'm just trying to say, I think maybe this isn't the guy for you. Because this guy is so stupid, he goes on television and hangs himself.
I know.
You know? Did you see the interview with Brett Baer, any of you?
Sure. He was talking.
Brett Baer nailed him. This is on Fox. Just nailed him. He listed a whole bunch of people who were in his administration who he has now said are morons, idiots, fools, whatever. He named about 20 of them. And he said, how come you hired all of them if they're fools and they're idiots and they're incompetent? He really didn't have an answer for that one. You know, I mean, it's amazing. Somebody said, if I were the prosecution in this case, I'd want to go out and find the best person I could find to convict Donald Trump. And you know who that would be? Donald Trump.
Yeah, he talks too much.
You know, I mean, come on, you don't talk about it. You know, when I was going through that whole case in court, did you hear me talk about the actual case as it was going on and what people were saying and not saying and so on? So, no. You don't want to say anything that's going to come back to bite you in the ass.
Himself more and more. It's like, just let him go, because it's just like he's going to cop a plea. I'm telling you, he doesn't have a chance. I don't think.
You don't think?
I think when they show what they have on him, how's he going to get out? This is a federal case. I think his goose is cooked.
I think they're going to end up with a hung jury the first time around.
And I hear the case is coming August 14th. Is that correct?
Well, what happens is in that part of the country, they like to expedite
That's good.
The cases. And so she just simply said, they say you have to do it within a certain amount of time. And she looked at the last date in that window and said, that's the date. Now, they can always go in and call for a, try to hold it back and say, oh, well, actually, it's 2 days before the debate for the Republicans. And he wasn't planning on debating anyway, because he doesn't want to have to stand next to Chris Christie and have Christie nail him, I mean, this is the guy that prepped him for debating.
He's got so many other charges against him. He'd probably have other dates he's got to meet in other courts.
Yeah.
There's a really good interview with Chris Christie, and he talks about this $1 billion deal that Kushner got.
Kushner got that $2 billion with the Saudis.
And talking about how families, there's no way that any family member should be hired in the White House. And, the Trump just blew everything out from the moral things you're not supposed to do with the family thing. And that's results of something like this. It's a $2 billion deal. And it's all because at least Biden, they said Biden was the parent, right? Joe Biden was the parent. And they think maybe there was something there. But with the Trumps, they were direct employees. It wasn't like his father was the president. The Trumps were actually employees of the government, where Biden still, there's still a lot of questions with what happened to Hunter Biden, but at least Hunter Biden wasn't an employee.
Well, Hunter Biden was never part of the administration.
Exactly, and that's what he was saying.
Advisor, he was
saying. Christie said There should never ever be a family member able to hold an office in the government.
Well, traditionally, there have been relatives who have held positions in the government. It's usually the first ladies, and they're usually in charge of the garden. You know, yeah. I mean, they're not in charge of anything important.
Like the vice president.
Yeah, yeah. But he was sending Kushner to, places like Saudi Arabia and so on to kind of be the de facto Secretary of State.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. That's not right. Yeah. So, I mean...
Nepotism at its best.
Huh?
Nepotism at its best.
Oh, yeah. No question about it being nepotism. But, it's amazing. It's just amazing to me that this guy is just really stupid. He goes on the air and he says stuff that's going to come back to strangle him in court. I mean, the thing I love best is that, well, all those papers were mixed in with my underpants, my jockey shorts, and
when you read the indictment, it's just like the stuff that he didn't take care of. The way that those documents were not taken care of is a crime in itself.
Well, what he said to Brett Baer, and this was the line that just it got to me. He said, "I just didn't have time to separate all those boxes."
Tough shit.
To go through them. And he
says,
I'm a very busy man.
Yeah, well,
busy doing what?
Deciding what to wear in a prison.
I mean, the stuff was falling over. They were storing it in showers. They were, the stuff was falling over in rooms and just spread out on the floor.
Listen,
it was ridiculous.
I understand how when you get all these boxes from the White House and you've just left the White House and they ship all the boxes to you, that, maybe one of those boxes, something has a couple of classified documents in them. And what you do when you suddenly find those is you call up the National Archives and you say, whoops, I think I have something I shouldn't have. And would you come pick them up?
Bull crap, because when did he lose the election? November. He was given his notice in November, and he left in January. He had plenty of time to check his boxes.
Well, I mean, also you yeah, exactly.
It's like you get your notice. Here's your 6 month notice. Okay, you're gonna be laid off in January.
If I'm moving from downtown
get your shit together.
If I'm moving from downtown to uptown, I might throw everything in some boxes, and then when I get here, I separate them, right? But come on, he was the president of the United States. People were packing for him.
Yeah.
He started saying that all those boxes were like news articles and magazine clippings. That's what he started saying in this other interview I saw the other day. It's like, oh my God.
Love letter.
Like he reads.
Yeah, yes, Jeff.
Didn't you hear that he said, the reason I couldn't find anything is because my golf clubs was somehow underneath one of my boxes.
He said that?
Can you imagine this?
This guy, he thinks people believe everything he says like it's the truth.
Yeah, but in the indictment, he actually admits that he was showing people certain documents. And he was showing maps. Oh, don't get too close. I can't show you this, but here it is. It says right there in the indictment.
Yeah, no, I mean,
it's
step in shit and eat it too.
It looks like he's starting to lose ground in his desire to be the nominee, because in the latest poll, he's down about 7 points. And they say that may start eroding even more, because some people are going, I want I like Trump. I want him to be president, but it's too much. It's too much drama. Maybe we just need somebody who isn't going to expend all his time creating drama.
DeSantis is losing like crazy.
No, he's not. He hasn't changed. In spite of the fact that Trump's...
DeSantis?
Yeah.
I've heard that Chris Christie is now above him.
No. Find me the poll. I mean, this was a CNN poll, and this is the only one that's been taken recently, and it had DeSantis in the last round at 22%, And in this round, he's at 22%. Where Trump was at 53%, and now he's down at 47%. So, I don't know where you got that.
Fox News.
No, Fox News wouldn't do that.
Yeah, the interview was Fox News. The one that I said, he said there weren't documents in there. There are a bunch of news articles and magazine clippings.
And clothes.
Yeah, like he reads.
And this is from a day ago, so it's like now he's back to the whole story of there weren't documents there. It's like,
yeah. What the hell? I keep saying to myself, that I just can't take any of this seriously anymore. There's nothing serious to take. This is just terrible. We're back to this. I would love to live my life, or the last years of my life, going at least a few days without anybody mentioning Trump's name.
Former President Trump is addressing a key piece of
What's that?
Nobody knows.
How many here wish Trump were on the Titan? Okay. That's fine.
I mean, you know what it is, I think, with him? It's almost like he's a cult of personality. But I think people are fading away from him because he's got a base of whatever you want to say, but it's definitely shrinking.
He's got a 33% base. Okay.
I mean, he's 77. In 2 years, he'll be 79. I mean, I'm not trying to be an ageist,
he can get 33% of the vote, but nobody's ever been elected president with 33% of the vote.
And you don't even know how he's going to. I just don't. I don't even think he's relevant anymore. I think they're giving him too much press, really.
Wouldn't you feel sorry for Trump being on the Titan? All those other 4 people having to deal with that ass.
I was going to say, yeah, they would have been like, "Hey, how did he get in here?"
Jesus, what a horrible ride that would be. I want my money back.
He's probably shits his pants all the time.
Yeah.
He'd be like, bigger boats.
Yeah, but I mean, it's horrible. I'm tired of it. I'm just exhausted.
Because he's so played out now. It's like you don't want to hear about him anymore.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about something else then.
What else is there to talk about? We took care of the Titan.
Titan, yeah.
We took care of the of Trump.
That's a lot of money just to go down and see.
You know, I was going to ask you this. Is it just like, I know when they make this much money, do they lose sense of reality of what they want to spend now at that point? Like, yeah, I'll go under the water.
Well, listen, if you got, I mean, this guy Reese who worked on The Simpsons, I think maybe worth a lot of money. Really a lot of money.
Somebody's a billionaire.
A couple of billion, yeah, at least. A couple of billion. And when you've got that kind of what we call fuck you money,
you wake up.
That's what you do with it. If I had that kind of money, that's what I'd do with it. Only I make sure the thing was safe before I went down on it.
You go all the way under the water. I mean, I don't know if I would do that.
Here's the part that really is incredible. The guy who owns the company is on there.
Is the pilot.
He's the pilot. Yeah.
He's committed.
The CEO.
Maybe his wife served him with papers in a text message.
He decided to commit suicide. Yeah.
That's right. Goodbye.
Where we go? We going back up?
Yeah, one of the guys happens to be a billionaire, and his son.
And his son, right? They're Greek, I think.
All on Gilligan's Island. Let me see here. Who else? Then there's another. There's a big sea guy. Guy goes down and all
like Jacques Cousteau.
Like Jacques Cousteau, that kind of, yeah. He was on that. So it's something. I mean, on top of that, you ready for this? The only way you can get out of that thing is they have to open it from the outside.
Bolt it, yeah.
Well, if they're in the depths that they say they are, you don't want to open the hatch.
Not from the inside, no.
Nope, not from the inside, not from the outside, because the pressure would kill them. So, And we can't even put a diver in the water that deep. So you got to bring it up.
Yeah, and now they've only gotten about another
12 hours.
12 hours of air left.
If they actually know, apparently they haven't actually put somebody in this thing above ground for 4 days and tested to see if it's really 96 hours.
Can you imagine a boat?
This company is going to go bankrupt.
Oh, they're bankrupt already. Forget it.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to trust.
They're an American company.
Are they really?
The Chinese would be working.
Yeah,
Well,
the
all
American
I
company.
All I got to do is get like a, what are those things you put under your lawn and that's where all the crap goes?
Septic tank.
Septic tank. All you got to do is get a septic tank, fill it full of oxygen, and say, "Hey, $250,000 a piece," and dump the thing in the ocean, and people will do it. Nobody was questioning them. Nobody was questioning whether this was.
The Coast Guard
safe.
wanted to inspect it last year, and they were turned down.
Yeah, because from what everybody who knows that craft intimately,
yes,
says it's a piece of crap.
Experts around the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
What a shame.
Yes, Jeff.
My uncle developed a lot of this sonar buoy, which is one of the ways.
Get closer to your microphone, will you?
Okay. My uncle was a guy who developed all these sonar buoys, which is the way that the submarines can figure out where they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Triangulate, right?
Yeah. And they're not doing very good luck with it.
Yeah.
And it would have been a simple thing with them.
Well, the thing is, even if they found it right now, I don't know if they could get it up in time.
Right.
Apparently something went wrong. Yeah. No shit.
Oh, yeah.
That's the stupidest statement I've made in years. Something went wrong.
That's all right. CNN's been doing it for 2 days.
Yeah.
Something went wrong.
Yeah. And it probably could have been something as simple as it getting snared in some stuff down there.
Yeah.
And being stuck.
They don't even know how deep the thing is right now. It could be 100 feet deep and floating out. They don't know.
Yeah, I mean, logically, all they have to do is dump these weights and they go straight up.
So it could have gotten to the bottom, and who knows how deep the silt is down there, and it could have gotten buried.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there are any number of things, but I mean, it certainly is something. I think I would almost say maybe they're dead already.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
it's awfully cold down there too.
Yeah.
And what do they got to keep them warm?
Starting to breathe carbon dioxide pretty
And by
soon.
the way, I hope you don't get leg cramps because there's no way to stand up and get rid of them.
Right.
You got to stay cross-legged out. You got to sit cross-legged for 10 hours.
It said only one person could have their legs extended at a time.
Oh my God, I've been.
So they swatch it.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Swap out. Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Well, to begin with, I have claustrophobia, so you're not getting me in there.
I'm claustrophobic. I would have sent Trump money if he would have gone down in it.
They do have a toilet.
Toilet, Alex.
Which they say has never been used.
The jar.
A jar. Hold that steady.
They said
Hold that steady.
Really?
It's a freaking jar.
I hear they have a dog water purification system.
Well, thank God this thing is high tech.
Yeah. I think I used the coffee.
Literally, it's a jar.
Coffee, yeah, really. Can you
Pass
make
that
me another
sucker
cup of
around.
coffee?
Everyone's ready to cup of coffee.
That's amazing.
Alex, to control. Do you see
because they typically go down there for about 6 hours and they're back up.
Yeah.
The controller
That's
for
all
the
you need is a Coke bottle.
Yeah.
Hey, Tony, you could have sent them down with some of your fresh made coffee in a thermos.
That would have kept them alive, probably. But listen to this. The pilot uses a video game controller to steer the craft. It looks like a PlayStation controller.
No, but you can.
I feel like I'm not getting it.
Do you play video games, Tony?
I played the GameCube and I have an old PlayStation.
GameCube? Who makes GameCubes anymore?
No, I mean I have the Switch, the Nintendo Switch. I still have all my Nintendo systems. Yeah.
Transvestites, transsexuals like to use a Nintendo Switch. Anyway.
That's a great system, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Missed the joke totally, Tony.
No, but as you and I both know, I mean, I've used, what do you call it? I've used, I play games a lot. And I got to tell you, those are very accurate. Those are very accurate. And also, they're made to last, too, because people are just going, like. So I would trust that kind of joystick. It doesn't mean it's not capable of, handling
maybe
the
it broke.
situation.
Who knows? We don't know.
I would love to hear James Cameron's opinion, because he has his own craft that he goes down in all the time that supposedly is very safe.
Not that deep, though.
Yeah.
No, he goes down to the Titanic.
Does he?
Yes. Oh, yes.
No? I thought he did for the film. Did he, Alex, or no? Was that his footage?
Yeah, he does a lot of shooting down there and so on, and he just
to show the bow of the Titanic. I remember watching
How
the
come
movie.
they don't get him out there to dive with his little vessel?
No, because he isn't taking people on joyrides. Yeah. Hey, Adrian, how you doing, kiddo?
Good.
Hi, Adrian. Did you get food on Saturday?
Kevin?
Mm-hmm.
We saw Kevin on Saturday, but I didn't send you a picture of Kevin and I and then send that to you, Alex.
No.
Yeah.
Well, if Phil were there with you, I'd have a picture of it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We decided not to take a picture.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did Uncle Kevin bring you some candy or anything good?
She's supposed to be Ariana Grande.
Oh.
Because they had dance class today and they have Spirit Week, so they had to dress up like somebody or something that starts with the first initial of their name. So she's A, so she was Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande. Oh, very good.
Everybody know that.
Very good. Very
All
good.
right.
Okay.
Bye. Well, couldn't she just go as Alex Bennett?
Yes! Oh, yeah, you could have Alex Bennett could have shaved your head.
You have to shave your head.
That chased her out of the room. Oh, wait, I spoke too soon. Anyway, was it her birthday? Was it her birthday, or was it just...
No. It's dance. Her dance had Spirit Week.
But I mean, when you had lunch with, or dinner, or whatever with...
Oh, no. Car show.
Car show. Oh, okay.
I had a car show on Saturday, yeah.
Yeah.
Down Gilroy, they had a bunch of stuff going on, so we sort of hit Peter and I, like 3 cars.
You really love those cars, don't you?
Yes.
See, I can never get hot behind cars. I don't know why. I think probably because there's no way I can have sex with them. There's no way I can...
In them. The Cadillacs are very easy.
There's no way I can eat them. I mean, really, they serve no real purpose, so I have no use for it.
But you can get eaten in them.
That's true, and I have been.
And think of the collection of door handles you'd have.
Excuse me, I'm trying to keep from sneezing. What? The door handles?
Yeah, didn't you break off one in Shecky's car?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, just think of the collection of door handles.
The car was 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was going to break that handle eventually.
My car is 89 years old.
What?
Yeah, Brian's got, yeah.
Yeah, my 1934 Cadillac.
A 1934 Cadillac.
Yeah, you're 1939. This is 5 years before you.
Yeah. Why do you? Is it still running?
Yeah, it's still running, but it's new. I changed everything in it, so.
That's an expensive proposition, my friend.
Mine is 70.
Everybody's got to have a hobby.
Yours is 70 years old?
Yeah, but it's still being built.
Yeah. Oh, I see. You're still putting it together? You know what you can do with those cars. I mean, if you got a car like that, movie companies.
Yeah.
You can rent it out.
If you're in LA, it's a lot easier. My gold Cadillac was on like a root beer bottle before, a bunch of magazines, but calendars. But then
I actually had a 73 Cutlass that was going to be in that Will Smith movie. The hell movie was that? The one in San Francisco. But I ended up selling it before they did the movie. They called me and wanted to be in it. Because it was just a regular old Cutlass.
Yeah, I see movies today where they, they got to pop, they take place in the 20s, and they've got to have that many cars working. Yeah. I'm sure they keep running them around the block over and over again, so they look like more cars than they are. But, having a car and being able to rent it out to movie companies, I imagine you could make a good little buck, So.
Yeah, I don't think they were going to pay that much. It was only like $400 or $500, and they were going to run it, park it on the street and run it up and down the road a couple times. It wasn't that much, really.
Yeah, but 500 still,
but
if you do that a couple of times a year because somebody's making a movie or needs it for a calendar or something like that, it takes care of the overhead on the car.
Yeah, and you ain't doing nothing with it. You're just letting them use it.
Yeah. I've been thinking about renting myself out. I get these casting notices.
You gigolo, you?
Yeah, and I just don't know why I don't do it. I guess because I just don't want to have to sit there for 8 hours doing nothing. Being an extra, being what they call atmosphere.
Just walking down the street.
Yeah, so I haven't done this. And on top of that, they don't let you eat their craft services.
Really?
You
went to the wrong company. When I got my van, it's customized, and it's basically a big bedroom in the back and drapes. A friend of mine saw it that produced X-rated movies, and he said he talked about it to the guy that owned the company, and they used it in a porn. I drive it down the road, and they see it, and then it goes into a warehouse. And these girls and guys are having sex in the back before I even got to have sex. It was so new. So they paid me like, I don't know, $700-800, but it was good material. I get to watch it live.
Yeah. Well, I thought about doing this
12 years ago.
Then I just don't know if I'm too old to. And sometimes the shoots are like at 3 a.m. Yeah.
No.
Leave me alone. Okay. No. But I saw the notices for Succession. What was the other show? The other big show that I saw that I could have done.
Marcy's Margals. What is that one called?
I don't know, but there's one that the Blacklist.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah. And I saw the notices on that, and they need somebody my age, people of all ages, just to walk down the street and back us.
Why don't you do it?
Whatever. Because it's to begin with, it only pays $200 for eight hours.
Like an extra, then.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's exactly what.
So you're not named in the movie at all.
Oh no, I would not get credit.
Screw that.
No.
I mean, if you're going to get Alex Bennett, you got to put his name in
there. That's right. You got to put my name in there. Yes, Jeff, quickly. I got to play I'm playing the theme here now.
That movie was Pursuit
of Happiness. On mute, so I'll talk. San Francisco Giants going for 10 in a row, baby.
These guys are playing well.
Wait a minute.
Last time was 2004.
Wait a minute. Let Jeff say what he's got to say. Jeff?
He's on mute. He's on mute. This is dead time.
Oh, okay. Well, if he's on
mute.
Go
Giants.
Go Giants.
There you go. My grandfather used to have a dog. He would be in all kinds of movies. So, be walking around with a dog. That was his job.
Okay. Anyway, thank you, Jeff. Thank you to Scott Boddicker. God, it's good to see you here in that black void of yours. And Kevin, always a pleasure, my friend. And Alan, nice to see you there tonight and hear all the funny jokes that you've told tonight.
Hysterical.
And we'll look forward to diagramming some more of them next time you're on. Thank you very much to Charlie Wallace, who I thought would be out doing baseball tonight if it wasn't that warm, but it was too hot for quite a few days to play, right?
No, they don't cancel the game. Really? You're playing 118 degrees heat index.
Then you're bigger idiots than I thought you were. And also thanks to Brian Neary, and thanks to Tony. Thanks to all of you. Give a big wave of goodbye, and I'll give a big wave of goodbye at you as well. Okay, there they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizen panel for tonight. Jack Bishop is next with The Intersection. He'll be taking your calls on Skype at GabNet Live. I'll see you again tomorrow night. Same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Good night, everybody.